Yo, what's going on, guys? We are live. I'm Brian, Seagulls Beverage Lab, and this is the Seagulls Beverage Lab podcast for Wednesday, the 21st of May, the year 2014. And we got a very light show by means of hosts and guests. We are missing two hosts, and we don't have a guest. So it's just going to be three guys, three stooges talking beer news. We got a lot to talk about and a lot of news stories and stuff. So. Uh, yeah, I am. I'm drinking. Where is it? It's back here. Thanks to beer buddy Ben Watts, I'm drinking the Flying Goose Long Brothers IPA. Not really straight out of the growler, but I got a glass here. But Mage preach, Ben, for coming home with some sweet golden goodness from the
It's a fancy
Goose.
looking growler, Brian. I like that.
It's awesome. Shout out to Rick for rocking it out. But I believe it's the oldest recipe from Flying Goose, so it even predates Rick. So
Wow.
mind blower. But yeah, it's tasty. Normie.
Hey, what's up? Norman from the Metro West Daily News, Real Beer Nut on Twitter. And tonight trying a new Buddy Nose Brewing Company Frankenlager, the new India Pale Lager that just came out.
Look at that label.
Yeah, it's a great label. Um,
That's scary.
it's a little low on alcohol for a big beer series, but a lot of good aroma there.
Oh yeah, and it's like a dark red label too, like the title too. It's pretty it's way different than what they've usually done.
Oh no, it's a great label. Actually, everyone at work was when I got it today was looking
Scared.
at it and saying comments.
Like what the hell is that? Oh, never mind. It's just beer.
Exactly, one person pissed themselves, but
Oh boy. Pissed themselves laughing. Shano,
Hey, I'm Sean Jansen from TwoBearGuys.com.
and he's frozen. Oh, hold on a second. He's back. Wait for it. Hold on. We lost him already.
Felt like I got booted and
Oh,
came right back.
go ahead. What do you got going on? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Marble Brewery India Pale Ale from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Whoa, New Mexico. Is that something the lady brought back for you?
Yep. Something that good old ALJ Peace and JLJ Love brought back from their little trip in New Mexico.
LJP's JLJ Love from the little TRIP. I get it. Nice one. Well,
bringing back a little IPA from the NM.
oh. So last week we're going to give a quick update for those that if you didn't watch or listen to last week's episode, do yourself a favor and stop this one and then go watch it. We had on very short notice, on maybe 12-hour notice, Todd Mott wanted to come on and talk about his Kickstarter campaign on the show, and it was a great show. We talked to him a little bit before getting into his Kickstarter, but his Kickstarter has now launched, and I don't know if anyone has it up. Do you guys have it up right now?
I do.
What's the current status of the Kickstarter? Only one day in.
Here's the data. There are the pledge goal is $60,000 is the goal. Currently, it's at $7,700 with 65 backers and 27 days to go.
Yeah,
Looking pretty good thing in first 3 days.
definitely.
Exactly.
I mean, and it's all over Facebook. If you follow even other breweries, if you follow the breweries, which is a crazy amount of support for Todd, who as everyone knows is pretty much a legend in these parts, both Mass, Connecticut, New Hampshire, wherever everyone knows who he is. So I'll put the link in the show notes here too, but it is in the link it is in the show notes for the last week's episode. So check it out there. Great app, a lot of good feedback from it, and I'll start with what I've done this past week. Mike Meredith, host of the show, not here. We'll just get it out of the way. Mike's not here, and Carla's on honeymoon. So let's not get it twisted. Mike's not with Carla. It's a different Mike. But yes, so me and Mike, we did a little brew trip on Saturday. We went down to Smutty Nose for their release of Hugs and Rainbows and Satchmo. And Hugs and Rainbows, a sour beer, very very tasty. I'm not into the sours quite yet. I'm still trying to get there, but it's good. Satchmo is the porter with mushrooms, truffle mushrooms, and it's tasty treats. The release was at their new Toll Farm because there was no more tours at Heritage Avenue, and starting on the 31st is going to be their very first tour for the public at Toll Farm, which if you are local, you can get to that on the 31st of May. I'll put the date in the show notes, or I mean the time in the show notes. Check it out because I mean, you guys have been there. I mean, with hard hats even. So.
And the caveat's going to be is that if you're not at the ACBF, why not go to Smolino's?
True, good call. So, but if you can't do one, you can't do one awesome thing, do another. And to clear up, there was some confusion. The restaurant is not going to be open yet. They're still slating that for the fall. So currently, it's just going to be they call it Smerchandise, which is a little play on words. Smolino's merchandise, and tours will be available, and then coming soon will be a couple other things, but just to start, it's just getting people familiar with what's been going on and exactly, how massive scale this has been what seems like a long time, but it hasn't really been that long, just transformation of this brewery. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think it seems longer because they were even though they got it done relatively quickly, they're still behind their original schedule, so everyone had it in their mind, like, it's going to be then, and then it got pushed back just a little.
Yep. We from then we went to Riverwalk and tried some good beers there. Steve Sanderson was on the show early on. I forget how early on, but I think in the first 10 episodes he was on the show. But we had his beers. I got a growler of the one of the Belgian Pale Ale. I forget the name though. It was a good name.
Nomad or
no.
That's that saison. So.
Yeah, but it was good. It's good enough to buy a growler for sure. It was pretty packed there, and then we went across the street to Newburyport and had the double IPA. It was tasty. And then Steve, good call, Sean. Steve was on 27, episode number 27, and then we went over to another guy that we had on the show, Chris Webb's Stomping Grounds, Newburyport, and had some beers there. And yeah, it was a good day. Went back to Smolino's after that because they had the release of the Frankenlager, which you had to check out, and pick up my box for me and BM Watts. Do a little subscription for that. It was packed. It was cool because usually they have the bottle release parties at the Heritage Ave, and it was cramped and very like don't touch this. But at Toll Farm, you can kind of put your arms out and not touch anybody. It's plenty of space. It's fun. Just go ahead. Don't touch me. But no, it was great. I mean, I look forward to for doing that, every month because it's a great place. So did that, and then Sunday was the chalice, or they call it a goblet, maybe. I forget what exactly they call it. Maybe schooner. I forget what they call it. Anyway, the chalice club for Earth Eagle did a little pre-party for the cock ale, which they call it Three Bird, because there's two hens and a rooster, and some spices and fruit in the beer, and it tasted good. Got to say hey to some of the fellow Earth Eagleans that are part of the club, and it was tasty. So if you're in the area, that beer is still on tap. I checked, and they've been closed the past 2 days because Thursday tomorrow they start serving lunch there, and they're open from 12 to 10 every day. So get your lunch on there. And if you check their Facebook, check out the renovations they've done. It looks awesome. A lot of more space behind the bar, which for
new tap lines, so a little bit easier.
Indeed. So yeah, check that out. Stop in and say hey to them, and I'll get to some of my more shout outs later on at the end of the show. But who wants to go next?
I just want to mention that they also went from 6 to 8 lines. So they're gonna stay with 6 for a little bit, but they have the upward capability of going towards 8.
As New England Gangsta becomes more of a consistent line, which is what people are craving.
Yep.
Big fan.
I still love Earth Eagle. I've been seeing tons of Earth Eagle shirts lately.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I had a busy weekend last weekend. I got a chance to go visit Samuel Adams Brewery on Friday. I was doing a radio interview for the book, but I was able to try their new New Zealand Pale Ale. I got a growler of that. It was fantastic. It's just a really nice hoppy pale ale with New Zealand hops, fruity, a lot of aromatic hops. It was fantastic, actually. I really hope they bottle it. I also tried the new stout, which is right now it's just a brewery only in the tasting room. It's just a nice 5.4% ABV stout. Nice, good, easy drinking stout. It's almost like it's the kind of stout you give someone who says all dark beers are too heavy, and you can show them that it doesn't have to be that heavy, but it still can have the roasted character. It was good. Friday night I got to go to Jack's Abbey Brewing, and I tried two of the new beer. Actually, yeah, two of the new beers Friday night. I tried their S'mores and Dagger, which is their Smoke and Dagger aged with graham cracker crumbs, fluff, and cocoa.
Awesome.
You know, basically try to make like a s'mores beer. It was good. Like I was telling Brian in the pre-show production.
Make it sound way more official than it really is.
The chocolate's what comes really through. It was good. I actually tried a sample today of their. I had to stop there. I'm doing a story for Friday's paper about their new Framingham Lager, which is coming out. Which proceeds will a portion of the proceeds is going to benefit the Framingham Renaissance Project. But I tried their new cherry Berliner Braun, the barrel aged in wine barrels with fresh cherries thrown in. And let me tell you, if I had cash, I probably would have spent every single dime I had on me to buy as many bottles as I could have.
Nice.
Fantastic. And the last thing I did this past weekend was I went to Julio's Liquor Spring Beer Fest. Probably about 2,000 people were about there. Free festival. I was again signing books there, but it was a fun time. A lot of good breweries. Treehouse made the trip out,
Nice.
which I think was the first time they've visited the Julio's, because they don't sell beer there, and but they had green, double shot, and I can't remember what the third beer was, but a lot of great breweries are there. Cambridge Brewing Company, Pretty Things, Notch, you name it. You went to Brooklyn, Wormtown, Jack's Abbey again. Pretty much, I think they had 45 breweries there. So it was really good.
It's a pretty big tasting.
Oh yeah, they used the whole store. I don't know if you've been to Julio's in about the last year, Sean, but they converted the basement level. They have this group called the Lock and Key Society. It's like a whiskey meeting group. So they converted the whole basement so they can use that for meetings. But they also use that for special events, so they can fit an extra 15 breweries down there to do a tasting. And
Wow.
they also do, the owner does a radio show for a local Worcester station, and all their equipment's down there on Saturdays called It's the Liquor Talking, which I'll be there. I'll be on Saturday. Tune in. But so basically that was my weekend. A lot of two different breweries, a beer fest, and a lot of good beer.
Classic,
cool.
classic Norm weekend right there.
I know.
John, what'd you get up to?
I'd like to see. I went out to some places in Portsmouth on Friday night, but other than that, it wasn't like a big beer weekend for me today. For me last weekend, I did get a chance to today. I visited Moonlight Meadery in Londonderry, which was I've never been there before, and kind of got a tour and see how they create the mead there, and tried a couple different meads, which was pretty nice.
Cool.
But I'm actually getting geared up for this weekend, which is going to be the anniversary for WIM.
Sweet.
So we're trying to figure out what time we're going to participate in the festivities.
Looks like a good time. You have more than one for me.
Will do.
I blame someone that's getting married for me not being around, but because they went to my wedding in 30 inches of snow, I must attend theirs. And he's a good friend, so don't kid yourself. But I'll be here. What's that?
Wedding stuff. Skip it.
Skip it, yeah. Skip it. Go to WIM. I'm gonna go to WIM Friday and tip my hat and say good stuff on the 1 year.
A little piece of advice for you for wedding.
Oh boy.
Nothing to do with beer, I know. But no one ever pays attention to who's at the wedding except close relatives. Skip the wedding and just go to the reception. I've done that for 8 different weddings. No one knows the wiser.
No, the best part
And
about
now they're listening to the show.
No, absolutely not. But the best part about this wedding, besides one of my good friends getting married, is it's in Sturbridge, which I can go to a bar and get Treehouse on tap. So
Nice.
I've already scouted it out just in case the wedding either goes off without a hitch or ends early. So there's a there's a good chance I'll be able to get some Treehouse. But nevertheless, looking forward to WIM taking on year number 2, because year number 1 was badass. So, and from what I'm hearing, and I don't know who I heard it from, I think it was just random conversation in Portsmouth Brewery last week, that the traffic situation has gone from like worse to very worse in downtown Portsmouth. That WIM is like the savior, which I hope hope people, realize that it's been there for a while and it's still awesome place. But they should be going there now. But the traffic is bad. It's not even going to Portsmouth. When you hear it's bad. I was there at lunch yesterday, and the parking garage was closed. They were full. It's crazy. Grinds my gears, Norman. What can I say? Let's kick off with I put some of the, so if anyone watching live, I have the show notes on sblpodcast.com. I got a random assortment of news that we can talk about, and then we can kind of just go general, and we might just do a short show today. But huge release by Sweaty Nose. We just talked about him before on when I was just saying we were there, and they have the new Toll Farm facility and all that. If things couldn't get any more sweeter for them, they released a new beer pretty much all over the Seacoast. I believe it was like 40 some bars on last Friday, just in the Seacoast. But I know they had a separate New York release and other ones. But the Bouncy House IPA is a session IPA, and it replaces the Star Island Single, which was one of their flagships. And it's kind of crazy for a brewery after 20 years to kind of, take out one of their flagships to replace it. But I don't know. Have you guys tried?
Only introduced like 4 years ago.
Yeah,
did I say okay? Shoals. I get Shoals and Star Island mixed up, but you're right, Norm. It was only a couple years ago.
Yeah, because Star Island replaced Portsmouth Lager, right?
I think that's
true. Anyway, I'll try to figure out, because Star Island Single was like more the fruitier beer, not really like fruit beer, but it was sweeter. So they're keeping the Shoals and the Old Brown Dog and the Finest Kind as like their coming in hot mainstays, but they're adding two. They're going to be, or a year round is going to be this Bouncy House, and then they're going to bring back the Wunderbar, I believe. I don't know if it's year round or seasonal.
I love the Wunderbar.
Wunderbar's great. Yeah, but Bouncy House, again, it's kind of like with this whole session IPA craze we're talking about. I was having what did I have a session IPA of? Oh, even the Melt Away from Newburyport, kind of like that lighter IPA kind of feel, or Notches, Left of the Dial, which Norm, great article on your session IPAs, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
It was I mean, I couldn't agree more. That's one of my favorite IPAs. Even it's just a great beer. But
what I think is funny about the Bouncy House coming out last week was right after that whole newscast video of the Bouncy House in New York getting picked up by the wind and flying through the air. And all I can picture in my mind is Bouncy House just needs a little extra pop hit to JT
yeah.
over and like just loosening the anchors just still. This will go viral. I know it, and our beer will sell off the shelf. And bam, it did.
So I mean, yeah, it was. If you look at their blog, it was like it's now. Well, so I'm gonna post two links because it's kind of neat how the transition goes. It came out in November of 2013 as a what do they call it? A single batch or a small batch?
Yeah, the small batch series.
Then it was a 4.9% IPA. Now they brought it down to 4.3% to kind of give it just a bit more sessionable feeling. But in comparison to the Finest Kind IPA, I believe the Finest Kind is like the high sixes. But yeah. I'm not exactly sure. But still, it's their kind of way to get into like the lighter IPA game, but still kind of have that transition to I call one of the better IPAs I've had, the Finest Kind for sure. It's a real good beer.
Damn fine beer.
Nice one, and a couple of fine gentlemen on that bottle. But yes, if you look, I'll post a link on YouTube or on the show notes from YouTube. They had the guy that did the photo shoot for all the coasters and the boxes had a camera above the Bouncy House as they were taking pictures, and you see Peter and Janet Eggleston jumping on the Bouncy House. I believe JT, friend of the show, was jumping on it, and new brewer from Portsmouth, Matt Gallagher, is jumping up and down on it. So it's pretty cool to see them having a little bit of fun with these labels because it's a pretty good beer. Have you guys had it? You guys have had it.
I've had it. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just looking up to try to figure out. I think that right now this release is like on their maybe this is not right, but maybe like batch 26. And I know that from the original, I was just kind of trying to figure out how it changed a little bit from where it was until it got to to where it ended up being. So just kind of interesting how something I like that how it comes out as like a specialty, and then it kind of figures out, does this fit, and you kind of change around and play with it, and then you're like, okay, here it is, everybody. This is what it's going to be like, and it's going to stay like this going forward. So.
Well, didn't
Yeah,
Black IPA and Dirty get released now as semi regulars after originally starting as short batch beers?
yeah, because
I don't know if the beer profile changed as much though.
I think it's mild. I think it might be a little milder on the hop, obviously, but I don't know. I don't know exactly what changed between what and what. But yeah, Norm, you're right. The Noonan is now kind of a regular release because I still see 6-packs of it. But what was the other one you said?
Dirty.
Yeah, I think the Dirty's the new spring.
Yeah, I think it's the new annual release instead of just that short batch series as it was originally.
And that's a damn good beer too. I don't mind that at all.
Beer.
Yeah, so they're pulling all the stops.
Definitely an underrated brewery.
Well, so fun fact for you, they're in craft sales in New Hampshire, they're less than 1%. That's a fact you can take to the bank. You can cash it in for less than 1%.
You know why I think they're a little underrated? Because they've been around for so long. They started before the craft beer craze. They don't get like the big pop when they come out, like when a new brewery in the last few years.
Which I think is this is kind of a smart move, and I'm still kind of floored by a brewery that's been around. They're celebrating their 20th year, and to come out with a new beer that's going to be out forever. A lot of breweries don't do that. It's kind of like, here's a seasonal, but this is like, you're going to see this all the time now.
Like Dogfish had last year added 61. That was like the first new year round, and
oh, is 61 a year round now?
Yeah, 61 was introduced as year round.
Oh, cool. I don't know that.
And then
sorry, no.
It was one of the brewery that recently added their first new year round in like 10 years. I can't remember who it was, but it was just like something you don't see a lot of breweries adding new year rounds. So, they'll do like a seasonal or a special release, see how it's accepted, and then
even Allagash, is the saison a year round or is it just a one timer?
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know. But
that was a damn good saison.
Shauna, what do you got?
No, I just kind of actually now I lost my train of thought.
Oh.
Damn it.
Disappointing.
That's it. My brain's blank.
What? Had the brew on tap, so it was well received by all, and check it out. And I think they're gonna have, it's gonna be everywhere. So if you can't find it, you just tweet Smutty Nose because they're pretty good at returning their response. Shano, do you have any last things?
Yeah, I was just curious. You mentioned that Smutty Nose is 1% of New Hampshire craft.
Yeah.
Was that a stat that you were able to get that on like nhbeer.org or
No,
or
no.
did you find that in your? I was just curious where like the data came from.
Came from the mouth of the executive brewer.
Oh, okay. Because I'm just curious of like if what they compare, like obviously you would compare Smutty Nose any of the like Shipyard or Sam Adams or you would compare including like the Red Hook and CBA probably into your New Hampshire volume and Sierra Nevada. I wonder if 1% took into account like anything like Shock Top or Blue Moon as a percentage.
They probably take into consideration every single beer that's sold in the state.
Yeah, the way the conversation led was it's the whole fact that Anheuser-Busch and Merrimack supplies beer for just New England, and New Hampshire is loving that like crazy. And it's New Hampshire still hasn't, even though Portsmouth and the Seacoast is a crazy craft area, it hasn't taken over yet because there's still the big guy down the street, but that's nothing they can control because they're producing beer just for New England. It's crazy.
I'm guessing there's very few states that Anheuser-Busch or Miller or Coors are still not the biggest seller.
Yeah.
Well, no, you mentioned it was 1% of all craft sales.
Right. Yeah.
That's why.
Right.
That's why big box product doesn't come into that equation.
Yeah, and then I think it led to local appreciation. So I think you're right, Sean. Though it did have a lot to do with Shipyard, Sam Adams.
Yeah.
But the context escapes me. But
yeah, and a lot of the marketing things that say what craft beer does count, Shock Top and Blue Moon, things like that, as craft beer, even though even though Beer Brewers Association doesn't, a lot of the marketing places do.
Oh, Norm is a segue master. Sean, do you have any final things on this one?
Nope.
Speaking of Brewers Associations, Brewers Guild, there's a link in the show notes again. All after North Dakota and Wyoming formed their latest Brewers Guild, all 50 states now have a Brewers Guild. So raise a glass to everybody that friggin' rocked out a Brewers Guild.
That's actually going to be a big stat, though. Like 10 years down the road, they're going to say, what are the final 2 states that didn't have a Brewers Guild that now do?
But yeah, it looks like Wyoming was the last one to do it. But yeah, I mean, it could be the same thing as New Hampshire, where they might have had one before, but now
went defunct, and
now it's like this. It's like the perfect time where tomorrow, New York or some other state could just say, we're good. But today, there's 50 states that each have a Brewers Guild. But I believe there's good things coming from the GSBA here, the Granite State Brewers Association. I believe Sean can agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're waiting to find out when the big official event's going to be for it, but there's going to be a brew festive process and.
Oh, Manchester, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they announced it. Was it last week? I think.
Oh, the actual brewfest?
Yeah, the one in Manchester.
Okay.
Yeah, what the hell is it? I'm going on Granite State Brewers Association on Facebook. What? But yeah, so they have the events up there, and it's called the GSBA Summerfest, and I'll put the link in the show notes. It's in July.
Actually, I hadn't seen that date yet.
It's
I knew it was
July 26th.
Process.
I'll post this right here in our little private chat keys, but maybe you can post it to the chat room that you're working on.
Definitely.
But yeah, so it's kind of their kickoff event. It's July 26th. It's the Granite State Brewers Association Summerfest, and it basically replaces this year the White Hook Fest, which was regarded as one of the better festivals of the year. So
which one?
The White Birch one. What did I say? White Hook?
Yeah, White Hook, which is a combination between Red Hook and White Birch.
Because they're very close. I'm like, Red Hook Fest is in August, or Hook Fest, whatever. But yeah.
Well, no, there was always the New Hampshire Brew Fest at Red Hook, which was the end of October.
Oh yeah, right. But then there's that band one in August that they do. But yeah, so nevertheless, the White Birch one isn't happening this year, as much as we praise it all year. But it's now moving to Manchester right here. So I'll put the link in the show notes. It looks like everyone's in on the game. All portions or all New Hampshire breweries in on it. So even Schilling. So yeah, that's it.
Well, we just were. Go ahead, Normie.
No, I mean I think that's a great thing that a lot of the Brewers Guilds do. Massachusetts puts on a great festival every year too, so it's a good event.
Yeah, that one's in September over at the Seaport, pretty much like outside. That's a pretty cool venue.
The concourse where the Beer Advocate ACBF is. It's right on the concourse upstairs outside.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, like I was saying, big things coming out of these guys, and we're going to be seeing a lot more from them just via. I mean, New Hampshire Beer Week's coming up, but I think it's they're going to be promoting this event during New Hampshire Beer Week, and maybe a couple more things, but. Check that out. It's a good thing for our state. Norm, do you have your finger on the pulse of the Mass Brewers Guild?
Yeah, they do a lot of stuff. They've been arguing. They've been arguing for a bill in the State House. They do a lot of. They just released a new Mass Passport thing where you can go to every single brewery.
Nice, I saw that.
Yeah. So, and then like I said, they're trying to change the distribution laws in Massachusetts. So you have members of the Brewers Guild meeting in front of the State House. Committee members, and like I said, they put on a fantastic festival every year.
Nice. Let me just top off my glass here. Sorry for the radio silence, but
I know that we were just talking some stats. Brian, there was a different article that came out this week was about Maine's craft beer industry projected to grow 200% by 2018.
Man. Is there a stat in there as how many breweries are currently active?
So there's a cool stat here that right now, they're projected. Well, in 2013, $92.6 million worth of beer was sold by the state's breweries. By comparison, there was a second, that doesn't make sense. 2.6 versus 340 million.
That's crazy. 200%, and that's just that's. Oh yeah, it says there are now 53 breweries currently producing beer in the state, and this article was of yesterday. 53. Hello. But yeah, so Maine's going crazy. I think New Hampshire's is on the edge of a quiet down, maybe after a pretty decent 2013-14 season.
Well, there's going to be a second brewery in Londonderry soon. There's going to be one in Merrimack.
Let's go.
There's a couple. The Londonderry one is projected to be next to Moonlight Meadery.
Cool.
Potentially, it's the space that they were looking at. It's going to be basically aged beers, like higher end, just oak aged beers. In Merrimack, you'll find the web presence already. Able Ebenezer's.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But then if you look over not too far into what town? Oh, well, in soon to be the Deciduous Brewing, which we've talked about a couple times.
Have we?
And well,
I've never heard that noise before.
well, that's the projected name of David's Brewery once he opens up in
right.
potentially in your area.
No, we don't know that.
Yeah.
It's not. We're gonna have him on to announce it.
Scratch that.
God. But then there's one going in Exeter. So yeah, maybe I'm like, this is the calm before the storm.
There's Exeter, but then there's also over by Beach Plum is going to be Bira Irish.
Yeah, which that's gonna be the one brewery I'm gonna forget to pronounce the name of right, because I don't know how to pronounce it. Bira or Bera?
It's beer, so I call it Bira.
All right, yeah, Bira, that's fine. Yeah, so stay tuned for New Hampshire rocking it out. But Norm, no more breweries going en masse. I heard they shut it down. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we're shut down. I mean, Medusa won't be able to start next month, and Aeronaut won't be starting, and
no one's starting.
Bad Martha's actually going from contract brewing to physical brewing won't happen. Slum Brew's tap room won't be opening. No.
Wait, what about? Do you have any new updates on the night shift? Have they moved over yet?
Tonight's the official grand opening, actually.
Is it really? Oh, congrats, guys. Nice.
So yeah, they're.
Hopefully they have parking there.
That's the thing. They actually have reserved parking for just their brewery.
What?
Yeah, the tasting room I think is 2,500 square feet.
Oh man, I gotta get in there.
Bigger than the last brewery total.
My next trip down, I'm going in.
Oh yeah, a full tap room. They're supposed to have food trucks outside, everything. I don't know if they're having the food trucks for the grand opening, but supposedly gonna have that outside.
Man, big congrats to those guys. We had them on the show a couple months ago, a couple shows ago.
Mystic's tap room will be open pretty soon.
Nice.
So
I just want to make a correction, Brian. I was reading the article. It was a little weird. The article was actually comparing the state's brewery beer sold versus Maine's lobster catch.
More beer than lobster?
No. Lobster in 2012 was 340 million, but in 2013, breweries were 92.6 million, on the path to catch the sales of lobster in Maine.
Man.
Which is a crazy stat.
Yep, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, and I'm not surprised. I mean, Maine's getting all these freaking great breweries and beers. Just, it's nuts. Let's go to one state that's trying to get something going on, but a bigger guy is potentially halting that. And I don't know if you guys have read into it recently, but the whole Stone Bill in South Carolina. Big shout out to my friend Mark in South Carolina, who sent me up some Westbrook, and Norm and I were talking about this in our pre-production. So, great beers. And Norm's like, screw this, I'm out. He dropped out of the conversation. But Sean, you familiar with the Stone Bill?
A little bit. They were basically there was a self-distributing law that prevented breweries to sell more than, let's say, like 20,000 cases in a year. I don't know what the specific number
Yeah.
is, but it was much lower than what that Stone had desired to be able to sell from their own tap room.
Yeah. There was
In
an
comparison to
article.
what they sell in their own place in California.
Yeah, I'm looking. This wasn't the article I was reading in the first place, but I was over at the Full Pint website, and it looked like it was more than just that. It was like it said like South Carolina didn't have. South Carolina went as far as writing up new proposed legislation that would accommodate the luxuries that we take for granted in California: growler fills, keg sales, straight from the source. Which I didn't know
Right.
you.
So
No,
the
I should know
current
you could do
limit
it.
is 2,000 barrels.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So the current South Carolina limit, and I'm sorry, I didn't know the numbers, so I looked at this now.
Yeah.
To convince Stone to come to there, they want to change the current limit of 2,000 barrels to 500,000 barrels per year that you can produce and sell on site.
Wow. Hey, they're making a push. I mean, Stone has been talking about opening a second brewery, so they were talking about Europe, but I haven't heard anything about the Europe plan, so it seems South Carolina would be a good location. I'd like to get some more Stone available whenever I can want it.
Yeah, basically, I mean, what the issue right now is that there's the objections from other breweries and the Wholesalers Association that saying that if you put that you could sell up to 500,000 barrels directly,
Yeah.
it's just an astronomical, ridiculous number.
Yeah, I mean,
It-
Stone won't reach that. And
There's no way that they would ever sell that much barrels of beer
I think
directly in a
that's more than
year.
they produce now.
no, yeah, that's more than they produce. What was the number? 'Cause, yeah, we read it in the year's end. It was impressive because it's like a 20% growth each year.
Yeah.
But and it's one of those things where every state on the East Coast is trying to go for the next biggest brewery to move over to their state because
Yeah.
North Carolina's got all of that. So it's
Yeah, I think South Carolina's feeling a little underappreciated after North Carolina attracts everyone.
But imagine a world, and I don't know what town is doing this or where Asheville is in relation to this town, but imagine a world where you can travel to all those breweries within like the same day. That could be crazy. I don't know how big the states are, so please geographers don't hurt me. But it's like you can't drive.
Impossible.
Yeah, you can't drive from San Diego to Colorado and then in the same day. I mean, you could, but it's
The problem is
closer.
once you visit the three like West Coast / East Coast breweries in North Carolina, there's no way you could drive. South
No,
Carolina, even if it's an hour away.
right? You just end up taking just hop on a yeah. I don't even know what they have there for travel. South Carolina's so foreign to me.
Yeah,
I get down there. But yeah, so that's
So I'll tell you this, Brian.
yeah.
Asheville, based on the map, Asheville, North Carolina is on the western side. Almost, I mean, it looks like you can get to Knoxville, Tennessee, pretty easy. So it's not very, it's not very in, it's not
Okay.
very, it's
Oh,
on the coast.
okay.
It's extremely inland.
Yeah.
It looks a bit west of Charlotte.
I think it's about a 10-hour drive down to Tennessee.
Oof. From here?
No, from North Carolina.
Oh God, it's like 5 days from here then.
Yeah.
Oh man. So that's that, and
Yeah.
the link is in the show notes. But it's a pretty crazy situation going on there because it's again the next biggest brewery trying to make some waves in the East Coast, and I don't know. New England is a pretty from what I saw on Facebook today. New England I believe was like number 1 or 2 region for selling Stone. I don't know if you saw this, Norm, from one of the reps we know, and was shining it on Facebook, so you didn't see it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have seen it.
But
Yeah.
it looks like New England was the number 2 region in the country for Stone beer.
Well,
I
makes
believe
sense.
it. We're a bunch of arrogant bastards up here, so
Oh yeah,
why
master.
not, right?
True, it's very true. Good call.
I still credit Stone Arrogant Bastard for introducing me to hoppy beers. So I have a special place in my heart for Stone.
Don't go break. Never mind. We got a couple more, and then we'll wrap it up because I got a couple things to talk about at the end. But don't worry, Rhode Island. I believe it looks like in June you'll be getting your Yingling, and Mike would have been kind of right in his wheelhouse to talk about this because he deals with them. But Rhode Island's getting Yingling, so Yingling for everybody. But where was I? I was at a place called, is it Sola's in Boston by the Prudential Center?
Yep.
And I'm looking at the beer list and it has Yingling on it. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder what beer this replaced to get on this list. And that's what I'm going to be thinking about every time I see it on a draft list is what beer
was here beforehand.
Yeah. What? Wait. If there's whiteout, I'm just going to go like, all right, what was on that list? But I wonder. Norm, do you know? Have you heard of? I mean, you don't have to name names, but have you heard of like any like craft breweries getting replaced or Sean?
Oh yeah,
even?
I will say because the brewer was very vocal about it on Twitter, so it wasn't something like that he didn't say. It was Notch lost handles originally to Yingling. I think they might have got a couple of them back, but initially they were losing tap handles to Yingling.
Crazy.
Because Chris Loring from Notch was posting on Twitter about even his neighborhood bar that had been carrying Notch since they first opened replaced it with Yingling.
That's nuts. I mean, it is a shame, but and then Rhode Island, which is starting to have a kind of a resurgence of craft brewing, like many of our states, is now might get halted a little bit because of what's going to happen with Yingling, but almost looking kind of it's weird because it's like the beer everybody saw it like, oh, if you go to Pennsylvania, bring me back some Yingling or whatever. It's starting to become this weird stepchild that no one wants to like kind of deal with. Right. I don't know.
Brian, I'd go on a limb to say that it's probably affected. If you look when we get the end of the year stats, it'll have a direct effect on sales of beer in New Hampshire for sure.
Oh, what? Oh, good call because they're going down.
Because a lot of people who are making that will make the trip go south.
Yeah.
And while they're there, they pick up other beers at the same time.
Oh yeah. For sure.
I mean,
since they were.
I mean, Merrimack's 20 minutes from my house here, and a great beer store. That's where I go to get my Notch and my Jack's Abbey and my Backlash and my Slum Brew and all that. But that's where I go to get my Mass beer. But I can imagine people that see that store. I mean, I was there with Ben Watts when they first released the Yingling, and they had just walls of it, and they're like, yeah, it'll all be gone. It's like, oh boy.
Let me tell you, I've been writing about beer since 2006, and I think since my first column, I've been getting emails and calls from people asking when Yingling was coming to Massachusetts. So, I mean, it's been about 8 years, and still, it keeps coming. There's just more and more people. Finally, I have a weird thing about Yingling, because I don't like the beer. I really don't. It's just I don't think it's good. But I really respect the history of it. I mean, they're the oldest American brewery, and they're still family-owned. I respect that they were able to keep it in their family, and they kept it going and kept growing, and they're at this size that, other than the big breweries, that them and Sam Adams are right in the top breweries, and it's kind of cool. But again, I don't like the beer.
I mean, and if being Darkside in the chat room says he just had it at the Cheesecake Factory, so watch out, brewers who are at the Cheesecake Factory. That's crazy. Well,
that's another market they lost. Damn it.
Hey, Normie, how many, if you don't mind, since the launch, how many articles about Yingling have you written for the paper?
I've only written one. I wrote about. Since the launch, I don't think I wrote a story since the launch, but I wrote a story when they first announced it, talking to like liquor stores and distributors, wondering how they thought it would affect beer sales in Massachusetts, and actually most of them thought it would hurt Narragansett the most, because Narragansett was going for the old-time beer drinkers, seemingly the type of thing that Yingling was going to be targeting. But Yingling, I mean, the distributors, I have to give them credit. I mean, they pulled out all the stops to get everyone ready. I mean, my local liquor store that's tiny asked for like 1,000 cases of it because they knew they were going to sell out of it within the first week. And
that's a lot of beer.
Just park a freezer truck outside.
Yeah, I mean, even like I was driving down through downtown Lumster, past 5 bars that had banners outside, Yingling coming on the date. I mean, the distributor did a great job of getting the market out, and unfortunately, it probably did hurt because, let's face it, most bars aren't going to take Bud Miller. Except for craft beer bars, but most regular bars that it might have 10 beers on tap, Bud Miller and Coors, Sam Adams, Harpoon, and maybe a couple other local beers. Most likely it's going to be the local beers that are going to be hurt by it because they're not going to take Bud Miller and Coors off because those are like their permanent staple. Again, I'm not talking about craft beer places. I'm talking about normal neighborhood bars. So that's the big thing I think Yingling hurts, and not that necessarily that they're going after the same market as the craft beer places, but like the local places that are going to carry Yingling that aren't beer places will take off the craft beer rather than Bud or Miller or Coors.
Yep. The saga continues, and as Darkside said in the chat, once they get in Rhode Island, it's them v Gansett. I mean, because I'm sure it's been them v Gansett in Mass already. So now when they're going to the hometown, see what happens. Happens on the streets. So we got a couple more articles up on the show notes. We'll just quick topic rundown, but we'll leave the links in the show notes. I put an interesting article up there about Coors Light is now introducing a summer brew. So they're trying to get the hold of the seasonal game by releasing this beer called Summer Brew. I think it's pretty interesting.
I wonder if like from the can, if the sun on the label like turns brighter when it gets cold, kind of like the cold activated can.
So the summer beer is not just summer beer; it's a citrus radler.
The funniest thing is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I got an email from a cop giving me a tip about a story that was happening in court this week. And at the end of the email, it says, try this Coors Summer Brew. Do not try it. It is bad. It is really bad. So this is a guy who always calls and goes, yeah, I love my Blue Moon. I don't like the stuff you write about. Blue Moon, Coors, Bud. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, check that article out. I have a video on there as well from a guy who did the beer mile. Beer mile is pretty simple. I haven't done it, but I aspire to. It's you run around the track for a mile, and each lap, which is 4 laps, you drink a whole 12-ounce beer. Guy did it in 4 minutes and 57 seconds. World record.
Great mile.
Huh?
That's a good mile.
First of all, that's a mile. Like that's fast. And then imagine stopping to drink a beer because you have to stop and then chug it. So
what do you think his mile by itself is, though?
So the mile by itself, I'm still guessing. If you can chug a beer, well, honestly, I haven't watched the video. So I need to see how we chug this beer.
You haven't broken down the video into its little clips to be able.
I wish if Google Hangout would allow us to like play a video and us just to slow-mo analyze it and draw pictures. You know, 3 ounces of beer right here.
You know what's funny? Right after I first heard about this a couple of years ago after the Summer Olympics, some guy who came in 4th in like a mile, a U.S. runner, tried to do a beer mile. He played on a record. And
awesome.
The first lap, fantastic, and the first beer is fine. The second lap, really good, but the beer is a little slower. Third lap, not as good, and the 4th beer, he looked like he was ready to die. It's like, yeah, he had the speed, but he didn't have the drinking down.
It's very tough to attempt it in around these parts because the only tracks are at high schools or grade schools, and you can't bring beer there. So yeah.
Have you tried it?
Me? No. I should probably set up a 1/4-mile loop from my house, and we can just do it. So.
Well, it has to be a college near you.
I could probably do it in 7.5, and that's because. Huh?
If you're going full speed without stopping, what's your normal mile?
Oh, well, my normal mile is probably 7.5, but I say if I'm going faster, like if I'm trying to run it and then drink something, I can probably do it in the exact same time.
Okay.
Like, but if I go full bore, we're talking like 6:45 is my fastest mile of all time.
Do you think you can do a 45-second, four beers in 45 seconds?
I think I can try, Norm. I think I can try. Wait, so meet me at the ACBF as I run around the Seaport World Trade Center.
See, I could do the 4 beers in 45 seconds. I just had to take a 37-minute mile.
And there's old Norm. Sean's pushing him in a wheelchair.
Yeah, he's doing a 37-minute mile with me pushing him.
Mopping him with a
He got through a 30-pack.
Oh, jeez. All right, yeah. So check out the video there. Sean, just do a quick highlight of what you put up there, and then we'll get into some other stuff really quick.
Yeah, I just want to mention that Two Roads in Connecticut announced that they're investing $2.4 million into an expansion to increase to 176,000 barrels.
Where do they brew right now again?
So it's Connecticut. It's in Stratford,
Okay,
Stratford,
Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Big
So,
moves.
so just I mean, remember that that more than so 2/3 of their production last year were all contract. 1/3 was their own production. Where that some of our that's where Notch is making all of their cans and Peak is doing their fresh cut and their summer and a couple of their new beers that they're coming out with, along with a bunch of other people doing contracts there.
Yeah, I think Evil Twin did some beer there. I think Stillwater did some beer there.
Crazy. Connecticut's doing big things, and I heard the New England Brewing Company moved over to a new spot, and that's going pretty good. But
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, that's a huge expansion, going up to 176,000 barrels. You know what I mean? Especially in the sort of the craft beer world.
okay, so check out the link. It's in the show notes now. It wasn't when we started, so refresh the page, check it. We're gonna wrap it up here. I mean, we started a little early, but anything in the next week you want to give a quick shout out to? We'll start with Shano. Anything coming up in the next week?
Yeah, I sort of mentioned it beforehand, but I'll bring it up again. You know what I mean? The WIM anniversary party is coming up.
Big congrats.
Yeah, so that's pretty big. And also, it's got to be short notice if we don't bring it up now. But next Friday, Saturday is the good old ACBF festival in Boston, which I think is maybe their 8th anniversary.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Jeez. And I saw on their ticket site, I never looked at the numbers before, but they sell 5,000 tickets per session.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
definitely huge.
Yeah, I mean, you'll find me all weekend, Sean.
I'll be there all weekend also.
Norm.
I haven't decided.
Just go, Norm. Let's have a reunite right here. Come
I
on,
was supposed to do a book signing at Mystic, and they realized that the ACBF was that weekend. They're like, we won't have anyone at the brewery. So like I wasn't planning on going, so it was like the last minute.
Figured it out. So Norm's gonna be wearing a huge trench coat. Opens one side, books. You want a sign? And then on the,
Well,
on the
either
other
that or
side-
he's going to wear a big sandwich board. That's going to be the front and the back of the book. I was going to say in
I
the
think
back,
the
buy my
best
book.
we have is full frontal nudity.
So, oh boy, so no, it's a sandwich board, but the front is like one of those like shirts that have like a bikini lady on it,
Exactly.
from the neck down.
Except I have like a 5'1" woman tied up onto my body.
Okay, listen. So you can find me if you're looking for me specifically, and I'll let it hang out because I like meeting people who say they like the fest because it helps boost our confidence about the show. Which recently Norm and Sean have been attacked by some fans, so big fans. Big fan of big fans is right here. But you can find me pouring for Henniker on the first Saturday session, and I believe you can find Beer Buddy Chatta on the first session on Saturday pouring for oh boy, bring it down, Bandit Horn. So he's
Nice.
so he just got the okay. He'll be there with me, rocking it. So Sean will be freaking around like he's kissing babies, it's like the mayor of that thing. He'll be talking to everybody. That's the best part about Sean. Is he
I can't
knows
tell you where you'll find me pouring, but I can
where.
probably give you a couple different places.
Yeah, what do you got? Listen.
Saturday will probably be a little bit of Tuckerman's, probably a little bit of Uenta, and maybe a little bit of actually we have one of our guys is pouring with you at Henniker.
Oh, what's his name?
Eric.
Oh boy, I've heard things about it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so you can find any one of us, say hi to us, because since we don't know what you look like, we can't say hi to you. So we'll be like, hi, random person. Anything else, Shano?
Oh, that's it.
Cool. Norman, any signings coming up? What's up?
Just a couple of radio appearances. On Fridays mornings, Bob Oakes show on the morning show on WBUR. I'll be on Bob Oakes' morning edition sometime during the morning. I recorded the interview the other day, and went really well. Talked a lot about the history of beer. And then on Saturday, I'll be on WCRN, a Worcester station, on the show called It's the Liquor Talking. The show starts at 11. I'm not exactly sure when I'll be on, but I'll be talking about the book and usually end up talking about a lot about other beers too. So should be fun.
Nice. And then you're on Howard Stern the week after, or what?
Definitely. I
Well,
mean,
he's going to be on
doing-
Opie and Anthony first, and then maybe Dancing with Norm.
I'm pretty sure, Norm, you should probably get on Opie and Anthony. Can we make a campaign to get you on there?
That'd be damn fun. I love that show. I used to listen to it way back in Boston when they got fired for the whole Mayor Menino thing, and so I would love to be on them.
Oh boy.
You remember?
Anything else? Yeah. Anything else, Normie? What do you got?
That's it for this weekend. So.
All right. So we'll see you next week then. A couple updates from this past week on Monday. So I think we announced it that the book New Hampshire Beer will be released on June 17th. Hold your applause because there's a lot coming in hot. Oh boy, please, you did it. You guys did it. It wasn't us.
I didn't.
Well, all of the hosts of the podcast are mentioned in the book, so don't kid yourself. Full paragraphs. But on Monday, I went down to Henniker Brewing and brewed 2 collaboration beers with Chris Shea. Spent the whole day there. He was doing an IPA day, so I came in and we did the IPA, and then we did 2 beers. One was a Belgian triple, and one was an Imperial Stout, which we're going to blend into a Belgian Imperial Black and Tan. So we don't know what it's called yet. I'm not good with naming names, but the recipe was his idea, so the idea is the name is up to me and Mike, so we'll figure it out. But we did that beer. It will be just for a signing that we're going to do at Henniker, probably July-ish or something. And I can announce now that Friday I'm going down to White Birch to do the same thing, do a collaboration beer, which will be released for a signing that we do there.
And do you know who you're brewing with there?
David?
Okay.
I believe. But yeah, I won't. I know kind of what we're doing, but I won't release what style it is yet because I want to make sure that that's still what they have planned for. Again, we offered to them, you pick the style as long as we can name the beer, and that's how we're doing it. So we're both going to go down there on Friday morning to do that. And there's a couple other breweries in line to do the same thing, but we're spacing it out to have a good book release. But you're gonna. On Friday, you're going to have another announcement. We're going to have a book launch party here in Portsmouth, and we hope everyone can make it. It's going to, Mike and I are going to be there. Going to do some food, some beer, so it should be a good time. We're going to be talking about that later.
Can someone win a date with Momo?
I wish. You know what? So,
I would want that.
Hashtag date Momo. Because someone's got to. Because otherwise it's
go.
But yeah, oh boy. But you can find me and him at the launch party. But we're also going to be up at the New England Brew Fest in Lincoln signing books as well. So if you're listening from far and wide, you can find us up there. And again, as of today, we just committed to 6 more signings. So Norm, I don't know, you didn't tell me this publishing company was as crazy as they were. But
I have signings all the way out to September already.
I'm scared right now, but we're going to be doing it. So New Hampshire Beer, nhbeerbook.com, you can see it on my little thing, is going to be a place to go to all the signings and all the nonsense. But again, huge. There's a full chapter in there on the podcast because we've talked to many New Hampshire brewers, and again, like as I was saying on the sidebar here, a lot of people we name dropped today. Chris Loring, Steve Sanderson, Mystic, Night Shifts. They've all been on the show, and the show wouldn't be possible without the support from the brewers, so we're huge fans. I guess I'll close that up by saying if you haven't checked out the Todd Mott episode from last week, definitely check it out, and his Kickstarter link will be there. And Sean, moment is end. No?
Nah.
That's
yes,
it? Yeah.
There it is.
All right, so, all right, boys, well, it was just us 3, but we did it. So cheers to everyone, and again, thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.